Well, Joe, the reality has come. We did not expect it to happen so suddenly. It's amazing how one playoff game changed everything. For those of you that might not know what I'm talking about, we're talking about that Buffalo Bills Kansas City Chiefs divisional round game. And wow, it's just amazing. But let me read to you guys the rule for those the audience out there. Both teams will have the opportunity to possess the ball in the postseason. If the score is tied after each team has possessed the ball, the next score wins. If the kicking off to start the overtime period scores a safety on the receiving team's initial possession, the team that kicked off is the winner. So, Joe, what's your take on all this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I remember the last time they changed it when there was only sudden death only, and then they extended it to where the other team got an opportunity to at least have the ball, and if a touchdown wasn't scored, then it carried on. So I think it's interesting that we're continuing to go, and I do think there needs to be some tweaking done, and it was only done in the playoffs, which I think is a good thing, rather than the whole the whole season. So I'm happy that they did that. My only question is, and maybe you can kind of weigh in on it, is like, why don't they just do it like other sports? Like just run it for like 10 minutes, and then and whoever has the highest score at the end of the 10 minutes, they win. If it's still tied, then you go to another one, especially in the playoffs. I'm just saying, like, there needs to be some sort of a way of saying, like, okay, it's not just due to one big play or something like that.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea, because we see in the NBA when it goes to overtime, it's 5 minutes, and you don't see any team just score and that's the game's over. They wait till the clock hits zero. So I think the NFL should do that and should consider that going forward. In terms of this new rule, I'm not surprised that it was gonna happen, but not so fast, not so suddenly. So um, I'm just curious to see how this all plays out for the new upcoming season when the postseason arrive. That's my take on that, but I like that. I never really thought that way, so I'm with you on that one. That the NFL,
Nice.
whether it's the regular season or postseason or both, if it goes to overtime, just wait till the clock hits zero, and whoever is on the board, they're the winner.
Simple. Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's too simple, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm all for it. If I have a high position in the NFL, I would consider that, but I'm not the commissioner.
Right.
I'm not commissioner, so
Exactly.
but it is going to be very interesting how this all plays out. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was really fast too. Like you said, we just had the playoffs, a couple months ago. And now we've already had a rule change because of a single game. Maybe a little hasty, but I think maybe they should think about it a little bit more and try to, instead of just like, I think that was almost like a knee-jerk reaction to what happened.
13 seconds of a playoff game changed everything. If the Buffalo Bills would have played like the number one defense team that they were last season and stopped Patrick Mahomes from driving the ball and setting up the field goal, which ended up pushing the game to overtime, we would have had a different discussion today. But because that didn't happen, the Bills didn't get a chance to have a possession in overtime. But in reality, they should have made that final stop in the fourth quarter.
Exactly. I mean, look at what Josh Allen said. I mean, he said, "Look, if this had went the other way, I'd feel just fine about the rule." So it all depends on your perspective, how you feel about it. Like I said, I like the idea of making some changes, especially in the playoffs. But I don't know if they really thought long enough on it, or it was. I think it was really quick decision based on a single game.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they really thought it through, but there's nothing we can do about it now. Let's just hope how the results will be about that.
Exactly.
And hopefully nobody gets screws over, because we've seen this time and time again. Teams, I mean, we live in times where people are often complaining, whining, complaining. So that's something that's not gonna change. But it's great to hear from you, Joe.
Yes, sir.
As for the rest of you, stay tuned for more future videos of myself and Joe to discuss any new topics that's going on in the NFL.